Hello everyone, this is Satish Kumar. I'm here with another lesson for Indian economy. So this is my continuation lesson on my Indian economy economic reforms. So in this lesson we are going to learn particularly about the economic reforms that India took in the 1990s. Okay. Before going into it, we will try to understand what is economic reforms. Okay. See, every country adopts some strategies to achieve growth and development. Okay, and the economists attribute the difference in the performance of different countries, no economies, no, in the strategies they follow. Okay, and each country has its own way of doing it, and there are the policy shift that the country takes, okay, in the process. This developmental alternative development strategies, no, it is popularly referred as economic reforms. Okay, so countries taking some steps to or some strategies to improve themselves, no, this is referred as economic reform. See, generally, in fact, popularly, in fact, especially in for Indian case, no, a declining role of the state in an economy and an expanding role of the private sector is considered as economic reforms. But technically, the definition would be shifting of economic policy of a country from one strategy to the other developmental strategy. That is known as economic reform. There are three methods available. We will see what are the three methods, and alternating between these three methods is known as economic reforms technically. But popularly, the decline of state role and expanding of role of private sector is gained importance as economic reforms. And especially for India, since between 1950 to 1990, India had so much of the state was playing a major role, no. So for India, declining of state role was termed as economic reforms, and that is what we understood. Okay, so please know the difference between what is technically the economic reforms and what popularly has gained as economic reforms. Okay, this is very, very important. So don't think that economic reforms is always declining of state role and expanding private role. That is not economic reforms. Even if the other way, that is increasing role of state, no, that is also could be considered as economic reforms. So the any strategy moving from one area to another developmental strategies, that is called economic reforms. Okay, so generally there are three models available. One is the plan model, that is the state, the government plays the major role in an economy, or government plays the entire role in economy. What to produce, who to produce, how to distribute, all the decisions are taken by government. In fact, Soviet Union did this. Okay, we know that. Then there is this Washington consensus. Okay, here market plays all the role. Then there is the third thing called mixed economy, where both the state and market play a role, and the mix is decided according to the country's need. Okay, so generally in the history of world economy, the popular definition that arrived is inclination of economy toward the market economy is referred as economic reforms. India especially were consider itself as economic when we talk in Indian case about economic reform, it is always used in this sense, declining of state role. So as I said earlier, no, the planning model was first Soviet Union went for planning model where the government took all the decision. Then all the East European countries also followed, being the satellite state of Soviet Union, and China also took it in the 1949. Okay, this is the planning model, and the huge success that Soviet had adopting the planning model was inspired by all the developing countries or all the countries which have been colonized, which have been a colony to the European countries. No, these developing countries, once they got independence, no, in the 1940s and 50s after Second World War, they all decided to adopt this model. Okay, even though they never went for total government role, but still there was, especially in India's case, too much of government role. Okay, so the reason behind this is, we have seen all this in the previous class itself. They feared that since they were already being dominated by the foreign colonizers, they don't want their economy to be open for the foreign investment like that. So all of them went for protectionist policies, and all of them went for state playing the major role. Okay, but this state model, no, started showing signs of stress, or the growth was not as planned for these countries. In fact, in the 70s and 80s it was well recognized. In fact, for India between 1950 to 1990, the growth rate was always very less. In fact, it is also known as Hindu rate of growth, that is 3 to 4%. Okay, India never crossed that. So there are certain limitations in the state dominated economy. Okay, and it was around this time in the 80s there were arguments in favor of market playing more role than the state playing a role. When the state economy is failing, no, naturally the inclination will be, everybody will say that relax the economy, let the private players play a major role, let market decide the factor. That is how this in the consensus emerged, what is known as the Washington consensus. Okay, in the 80s. Okay, there were discussion, and many countries know started shifting their economic policy to the other extreme. Earlier they were all state, the government played the major role in the economy. Now they want all to liberalize and lift it to the private sector to pay, market to play the major role in the economy. Okay, and very minimal role to the government in the economy. So these countries, no, also were asked by the other Western countries like European countries and America, no, they were asked these countries to privatize and liberalize and to sell the state-owned companies and eliminate government intervention in the economy, which they said that is being an obstacle to the growth of that economy. So that is how this Washington consensus was emerged. Okay, and it was around this time the term economic reform also gained importance. Okay, between 1980s and 1990, and the Washington consensus is nothing but a group of Western countries coming together in Washington especially, and they developed this model of market playing the major role, and suggesting that states should relax all the rules. Okay, and it advocated the extreme opposite of state role, where they were promoting naked capitalism, that is opening the economy without any condition. Okay, and please remember, even this is not the correct method. In fact, it proved little better, but it also did not sustain the growth for a long period of time. We will see that. Okay, so now we will see what is the Washington consensus. There are certain principles associated with this. In fact, there are 10 principles given by a person named John Williamson in 1989. Based on these discussions arrived between 1980 to 1990s, and this is all the states should go for the following 10 principles. Okay, the state, which are the country which are all having the government playing major role in the economy. No, these countries should adopt these 10 principles. Okay, that is what known as Washington Consensus. What are the 10 principles? They are: first, there should be less government spending. Okay, in fact, for India, we all know that between 1950 to 1980, government was spending major. If you see the budget, no, you would see the majority of the total outlay would come from the government. Okay, and this has been reduced only after 1990s. Okay, so the government, the first principle in the Washington Consensus is the government should spend less. Okay, and this is to avoid fiscal deficits of the government. Okay, in fact, India for a long time having huge budget deficits, that is fiscal deficits. Okay, and to avoid this. Okay, so the first principle is low government spending. The second principle is even if a government is spending, it should be spending on uh, sectors which will be helping for growth of the economy rather than providing as subsidies. Okay, okay. In India, there is this thing called plan expenditure and non-plan expenditure, and this category is at present abolished, but it was there between 1950s to 2014. Okay, altered, the planning commission was there. What is the plan expenditure and what is the non-plan expenditure? See, the plan expenditure is the expenditure that involves investing in something productive or assets, or some developmental of social sectors like education, healthcare, infrastructure, like that. Okay, if money is spent on those things, no, it will be productive for the economy, because if the money is spent for education, people are getting literacy, which will be helpful for the growth of the economy. If the money is spent on infrastructure, it will be helpful for the developmental of industry and other things. Okay, if money is spent on any asset creation, that asset will be useful. Okay, so this kind of spending is known as plan expenditure. Okay, the other thing is called non-plan expenditure, which are the government subsidies, like subsidies and other welfare measures that the government take, and other free gifts that the government give to the people. Okay, we know in India this is the problem for a long time. Government spent a lot of amount on this kind of subsidies. Okay, of course subsidies are important, but the problem is we wasted too much of time providing too much of, so the public spending of the government, no, is not channelized properly. Lot of money went wastage, and even it did not benefited the targeted group, and it was pocketed by intermediaries like civil servants, like politicians and other groups. Okay, so the real beneficiary was not the people, even in the case of, so these kind of expenditure is known of non-plan expenditure, which is not going to help in the growth of an economy. Okay, so any spending which is involving non-plan expenditure, for example, no, this kind of spending should be reduced. Okay, and the spending should be focused on the plan expenditure. That is what the second principle, diversion of public spending from subsidies. Okay, again these are all very good principles. Okay, then there should be tax reform policies. The government should go for tax reform policies. In fact, they have to broaden the tax base and at the same time adopt a moderate marginal tax rate. See, one of the problem for a country like India is India had a huge tax. In fact, they went for higher taxes. Okay, and as a result, people will avoid the tax by other keeping black money and other things. Okay, if the government is charging lesser tax, no, people will be willing to pay. So that is why what the this Washington Consensus, the principle was given. Government should reform the tax policies and increase the tax base rather than increasing the rate of tax. They should have moderate marginal tax rate. That is what the third principle. Then they also suggested that market should determine the interest rate. That is the fourth principle. That market should be uh, uh, the market factors should determine the interest rate rather than there should be a fixed interest rate by the government. Okay, that is the fourth principle. The fifth principle is the currency exchange rate of a country should be based on free floating currency rate rather than currency rate, fixed currency rate. Okay, we will learn about this later, but please remember this point. In a fixed currency rate, a country's currency rate with another country rate is fixed at a particular level. Okay, for example, if today India decided to fix the currency rate with US dollar, no, it decided to flip if in today's rate, if India is India's US dollars $1 is India's value for 70 rupees, India will fix that at 70. So tomorrow also it will be the same. There won't be any fluctuations. Countries use this for certain purposes. Okay, but in a free floating exchange rate, no, what will happen is the value of the currency will go up or down. Okay, so we will see that in the market daily paper that Indian currency rate is declined today, Indian currency rate is appreciated today. Those kind of, we will learn about all this detail later when we learn about the external sector, but at present I will give this brief idea. Okay, then the sixth principle is adoption of free trade policies, that is liberalization of the economy for imports, opening the country's economy for other countries to entering their market. Okay, removing trade barriers. Okay, so we learnt in the earlier section between 1950 to 1990 India went for highly protectionist policy, that is we had huge trade barriers for others to coming inside. India went for import substitution. Okay, so this principle suggested by the Washington Consensus, countries should open their economy and reducing the tariffs and quotas. Okay, previously there was protectionist measures like tariffs, that is if a foreign country product come into India, no, they will charge high tariff to protect our own economy, our own industries, okay, our own products, our own goods and services. So that is why tariffs are charged. Similarly, there are quotas. Certain products could be dumped into our country by other countries. Okay, as a result, those industries in India could face trouble. So they have certain limit of product coming from particular goods. So India always had huge tariffs. In fact, at one point of time we had 130%. Okay, so that is how we had so much of tariff to protect our own country industry. But this was asked to liberalize. In fact, the economic reforms India took in the 1990s, no, India actually removed, in fact, reduced a lot of tariffs. Okay, earlier it was like 100%. Now it was later reduced to 20%, 30% like that. Okay, that is what adoption of free trade policies, allowing foreigners to come into the country. Okay, similarly reduction of or elimination of quotas. Okay, so that is what adoption of free trade policy is concerned. Then the seventh principle is relaxing rules on foreign direct investment. So allowing the foreigners to invest into a country. See, India also had this act called Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. At present it is FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act. Okay, and by this method India will put some restriction on foreign investment coming into India. This was asked to relax so that foreigners could invest in India, start a company in country, invest, open an industry in India. All these things could happen. Okay, and the privatization of state enterprises, that is the eighth principle. See, between 1950 to 1990 India went for too much of public sector. All the sectors are held by public sector. Most of the sectors are run by public sector. This was asked to privatize. Okay, privatization of state enterprises. Okay, then the ninth principle is eradication of regulation and policies that restrict competition or unnecessary barriers to entry. Again, this is related to tariffs and quotas and other things. Okay, there are also other regulations like too many laws, too many labor laws, too many industrial codes. Okay, these kind of unnecessary barriers. In fact, one of the reason lot of foreign direct investment are not coming to India, or not foreigners are investing in India, is because of this kind of regulations and policies which restrict the competition. Again, all these have to be reduced. Then there should also be the 10th principle, development of property rights. That is, if a country is investing in a country, no, they want their money to be safe. Say they want to have a property rights. Okay, that, so these are the 10 major principles of the Washington Consensus. Okay, see, these principles, if you find, no, these are laid by the developed countries, and the developed countries are laying this because they want the market of the developing countries. Okay, the developing countries, there are lot of people, and they are, so there is a market, and the developed countries are producing more because they have capital, they have industries, and their market cannot consume the entire product that they are producing. They want to sell this product, and they also want to invest in our country. Okay, that is the aim. So that is why they are going for these kind of policies. Okay, principles. Again, when India in the 1990s adopted this these kind of principles, no, lot of people will criticize for this reason, because India is bowing to the international dictates, that is IMF and World Bank. Okay, see, we also have to understand, we also should grow. Okay, I will give you an example. Okay, my brother, in fact, during my childhood time, when we are growing, no, when we are studying and growing, no, we were a very poor family, both our family. Okay, I had a brother, I had a father or mother. We are a very poor family. My brother studied well, he is a very good in education, and he cleared the he was having this potential for good education, and he was preparing for IAS examination, and at present he has become an IRS officer, and he is a joint commissioner. And during that time when he was preparing, no, people were coming to help them. Okay, at that time, but those people did not help us earlier stages when we are struggling in the initial stages. So I used to say to my brother that, see, look at these people, they are coming to you to help because they see the potential in you, and that is why they are helping, and not for your concern. And my brother said one thing that is very, very important that we have to understand. And he said, let it be. He also said, I also know that they are coming to help us because they see the potential. But we also have to grow, and we need at that point of time those help. We cannot say that since they are coming with some intention, let us grow. Okay, that should be the principle. In fact, adopting economic reforms or not should not be the question. We have to grow. At that time, we don't have the growth potential. When some help is coming from other side, even the motive was not to help us, we have to take it. Okay, who's going to benefit? That is what my brother said, and that should be the attitude when it comes to this kind of things. In fact, that kind of attitude which was not there in India between 1960s, 70s and 80s resulted in very poor state in the Indian economy. Okay, so this approach only was actually India was obligated to economic reform in the 1980s. Okay, but it would have come earlier in the 1960s and 70s. India would have grown like China faster than, and today it would have been competing with China rather than struggling in manufacturing competitiveness and other things. Okay, so even though these kind of principles are laid by the developed countries for their benefit, if it is going to benefit us some way, we could, what is the wrong in not adopting it? Okay, so that is why India went for this kind of reform. Okay, at the same time, these reforms did not yield, as I said earlier, for a long time. So the by mid 1990s, no, even in the mid 1990s itself, and after 2010 and in the 2008 financial crisis came, no, this Washington consensus was heavily criticized, that leaving everything to the market to play the role. Okay, so there emerged another thing called mixed economy. Okay, at that time there was this East Asian economy, like countries like Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and Taiwan. These countries had a very peculiar model of development, where they had a strong state role. Okay, the strong role of government. At the same time, they also allowed the market to function. Okay, but they regulated it. Okay, so they decided that the market should be there, but at the same time they understood that the market had certain imperfections and limitations. So they had a very strong role for state. So they mixed it. They let the state to play a state have a strong role in government, at the same time to regulate the market factors. So the market also let to play, but it was regulated highly by the state, and as a result these economies grow very fast. That is why they are called as Asian tigers, four Asian tigers: Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and Taiwan, along with Japan. They grow very fast in the 1970s and 80s and in the 1990s. Okay, so even though they had financial crisis in the 1997 and 98, but still they grow very faster. Okay, so that is why this mixed economy concept arrived, where neither the state playing entire role, neither the market playing entire role. There should be a mix, and this mix should have been decided by the government according to the situations of the country. Okay, and at present no country is entirely following that any single method, that is the state model or the market model or the Washington consensus. All the countries at present are following a mixed model of economy. In fact, all the countries in the world, including Russia and China, all are mixed economy. Every country there is market, and there is also the government plays a role. The mix will be different. Okay, for India between 1950 to 1990, more state role, so like 80% state role and 20% only market. After 1990s, we relaxed that. At present, we have some 70% market and 30% government. I don't know exactly mix. Okay, so in fact, after Modi came into power, Modi said that he would relax. He would say that there is little government, but actually his actions are more like more government. Okay, so we don't know what is the role of the state. Okay, and we don't know whether his approach is correct or not. We have to see after quite some time. Okay, but he is not actually letting the private to play freely. He is putting so much of restrictions, so much of protectionist policies there, and his idea is for India industries to grow. Okay, that is why he is being criticized, and some economists say it is correct. We letting too much of market to play in our economy will spoil our economy. So that kind of thing is going. Let us wait and see. Okay, so the consensus at present is every economy is mixed economy. Okay, so these are all the models. So now we have I hope you understand what is economic reforms, what are the types of economic reforms is there. Okay, in my next lesson we will learn exclusively about what are the economic reforms that India took in the 1990s. Okay, we will see what are the economic reforms India took, how it took. Okay, please keep watching the part 2 of this lesson. Bye.